everybody. My name's Harry James. 2017, the Kansas State Wildcats made a change up on top of the athletic fields. Gene Taylor taking over as the athletic director in Manhattan and the Little Apple. He let Bill Snyder finish his stint. He did not let him continue on. Bill Snyder is done. Finally, the slick one is done at Kansas State, but they're not done winning. He called an old friend of his from his days at North Dakota State in Chris Kleiman. Kleiman has 4 FCS national championships with the Bison of North Dakota State. We'll preview Kansas State and the rest of Kleiman's fine crew coming up next. Boomer Sooner 1982. Don't go away! Sooner, everybody. My name's Harry James. The next part of the OU season will happen in Manhattan, Little Apple, where the Kansas State Wildcats play. Maybe not the name of their current coach, but still, Bill Snyder Stadium deserves to be called Bill Snyder Stadium. That's where they'll play their football games. 5-7 last year for Coach Snyder. 3-6 in Big 12 play. 6th place in the league. They tied with Texas Tech and Oklahoma State for 6th place. They did beat the Cowboys of Oklahoma State 31-12 in the final homecoming game for Bill Snyder. Final homecoming game, but it's not the final game for Kansas State because Chris Kleiman is now in charge of the purple and gray of Manhattan, Kansas. And before we talk about Kleiman and what he did at North Dakota State, let's talk about what Kleiman has coming back. And that includes a quarterback that he really likes, and number 10, Skylar Thompson. Last year in a different offense, but still had a good season in the air, passing for over 1,000 yards with 1,391 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His longest completion was 82 yards. And he passed for 126.45 yards per ball game last season in 11 games for the Purple Leaders of Manhattan, Kansas. He's not only the leading passer, he's also the leading rusher returning. With Skylar last year finished with 105 rushing attempts to go with 548 yards, 5 touchdowns. His longest scat was from 52 yards out. He averaged 33.91 yards per ball game in 11 games last year. 11 games last year. That's 33.91 yards per rushing per game, and in 11 games. Also in 11 games, they do have an 11-game returner at running back, but not from Kansas State. He came from Larry Fedora and North Carolina with now our old buddy Mac Brown in charge there. I guess that he either didn't like Mac Brown's system or he just wanted a chance to continue his football career, and he'll get that. Last season with North Carolina, number 6 Jordan Brown had 81 rushing attempts to go with 347 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. 24 was his longest run. He averaged 31.55 yards per game and played in all 11 games for the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Leading receivers returning for Kansas State. They'll have a lot of guys to play with. Dalton Schoen, though, is the big one. Dalton last year, 32 receptions last year. With the 32 receptions, he had 520 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. His longest reception last year, 72 yards. And he averaged last year 47.27 yards per ball game, receiving in the game with 11 games played. They also have the aforementioned Jordan Brown, the transfer from North Carolina. He's returning as the leading receiver. He had 16 receptions last year for North Carolina to go with 90 yards receiving in the air. Didn't have a touchdown. His longest catch, 21 yards out. Averaged about 25 yards per ball game in 11 games last season for North Carolina. Now, Brown is automatically eligible because of the graduate transfer policies in NCAA football. Now, he's got all that offense returning, but you know Bill Snyder, and you know Chris Kleiman. You don't win 4 FCS national championships, and you do not play for Bill Snyder without at least knowing how to play some defense. And oh boy, do they at Kansas State. Number 5, Daquan Polton and Justin Hughes, both returning. We'll start with 5, Darquin Patton, 90 tackles last year. Didn't have a forced fumble recovered, or interception last year as a cornerback in 12 games. The linebacker, though, the safety, though, Justin Hughes. Listen to this stat bubble for him. Number 32, Justin Hughes, 55 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovered. Did not, however, have an interception, and he played in 11 games last year with the Kansas State Wildcats. So that's what they have returning. Let's talk about the newbie. And that would be the new coaching staff, particularly the new head coach, Chris Kleiman. He's a 1990 grad from the University of Northern Iowa. From 2014 to 2018, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, he was at FCS Power North Dakota State before accepting the job in 2019 to come coach at Kansas State University. His coaching career, well, it might be at the FCS level, but that doesn't mean he's a loser. In fact, he's a winner. Get this one. In 75 games in North Dakota, at North Dakota State, 69-6. That is a 92% winning clip. That does include a 14-1 in 15 games. That's a 93% winning clip in FCS playoff appearance games. That means, and their one loss, by the way, was in the FCS National Championship game. So they got there. They just didn't win it. But they won every other time they got there, and that includes 14, 15, 17, and 18. And those were all FCS National Championship teams. Division titles since the Stoops and Lincoln Riley took over, well, they only got a couple of them. They've got 3 division titles. Remember the one in 99? Remember that one? Right when Bob Stoops got there that first year? They actually won the conference that year, or the division that year. They won it with Nebraska. That Nebraska, however, won the tiebreaker and the outright title to get invited to the Big 12 Championship. But in 2000, guess who Oklahoma played in the Big 12 Championships? Kansas State. Won that one outright, as did they win the one in 03 outright. And the one in 03 is also a conference championship season for the Wildcats. They also have a 2012 outright conference championship over Oklahoma And Oklahoma and Kansas State both tied for that record. Kansas State, though, won the outright title, beating the Sooners in Norman. Coming up next week, everybody, we will preview the Iowa State Cyclones as they circle into Norman and try to win back-to-back games in Norman for the first time since, forever. Quite literally, forever. I don't think it's ever been done that they win back-to-back times in Norman. In fact, before last season, the last time they won in Norman, 1991, before 2 years ago. Oklahoma's going to try to keep that streak alive. We'll preview that one coming up next. Until then, everybody, I'm Harry James Taylor. Remember to follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, and on the YouTube. On my Facebook and Twitter, I also, by the way, break down a blog every day, so you can check that out too. All right, guys, thanks for watching. My name's Harry James. Be sure to check me out on YouTube, BoomerSooner1982. Also on the Twitter at HypeManHarry and Harry James Taylor on Facebook. All right, guys, I'm out of here. See ya, Boomer Sooner. Bye.